Okay, these are some two-color palettes that I'm going to try to represent this in. And this is what I did in a previous one. I used a permanent green light and I used imperial purple. And that gave me these darks. So out of these two colors, one of them has to be a dark. So these are the palettes that I tried. I've got a dark, 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 dark. That's not so dark. This is alizarin and permanent green light, and it doesn't give me a very good dark. I could have gotten a little darker, but anyway, so this is the one I ended up using. So I'm going to try something different this time. And what I'm doing is this side by side. We just did this one. Now I'm going to do the color version of that. So now I'm going to pick my two colors. And I'm going to try... Well, I haven't tried this guy yet. I don't know if this is going to be right, but just for fun, I'm going to pick that. Cobalt teal. And I need a dark color to go with that. I could use my Payne's. That's my dark color, but that's my second choice. I'm going to pick quinacridone magenta just for fun. And I'm going to do that. And now I can kind of see that I'm getting this third color in there. Now I'm going to mix these two colors together and see what I get. Don't worry about contaminating your palette. It's part of the game. Besides, contaminated palettes don't bother me. So I think I've got a dark. I've got that for a dark. That's mixing those two colors together. So let's be more realistic. Although this is a beautiful palette, I'm not sure it's the right one for this. I'm going to try Gamboge, which is a warm yellow. And what should I put with that? Something dark. So I'm going to go back to the color wheel. I'm going to put a complement of that. What's the complement? It's purple. And I want to see that neutral. Look at that beautiful neutral I'm getting out of there. That beautiful gray. And if I mix those two together, and I'll start with the Gamboge, make a puddle, and then go to the purple. This is going to be on the cooler side, but maybe not. There's my, I'll see if I can't make that a little darker. That's not a bad dark. That's not a bad look, because remember, I'm trying to emulate that or kind of paint it, but I could paint this scene. I could make it a winter scene, I could make it summer, I could make it fall, I could make it whatever I want to make it. Let's try one more. Let me use a dark. I'm actually going to use, I haven't tried this yet, I'm actually going to try to use orange. And we'll see what happens with that. That's pretty pure orange. I'm going to use phthalo. I could use phthalo, I could use ultramarine with that, but I'm going to try phthalo. Oh, wow, look at that.
That's great.
Wow, that's pretty cool. And that's going to dry out and give me that beautiful neutral. So I'm going to mix some orange and I'm going to mix some phthalo with it and see if I can't get a good dark, and I think I can out of this guy. That's pretty good dark. Yeah, that's a really good dark. It's dark, my darkest dark. So maybe I'll use that guy just for fun. I'm leaning toward this guy right now, but we'll see. So try these. Try these colors. Just making up your color palette, and keep these guys, because I guarantee you're going to use them for something else. Okay, so we did the 3-value study, light, mid, and dark, and now we're going to, coming from that, we're going to do our color study. So that's going to decide whether we want to paint this full sheet as our masterpiece for the next show or whatever. So I painted these several color combinations using only 2 colors. And I'm going to go with my first color is Gamboge in those cases. Here I use purple, Imperial Purple, or just purple, and ultramarine. And I think I'm going to go with, because I use purple on this one, because I use purple on this one and that permanent green light, I think I'm going to go with this guy. Okay, the palette is clean. I'm going to take some Gamboge on the warm side of my palette, and I'm going to take some ultramarine on the cool side of my palette. I'm using a Robert E. Wood palette, by the way. It's got a warm and a cool side, nice big wells. And I'm going to mix kind of, I'm going to try to mix kind of a neutral here. And I kind of want, I think I want it on the warm side. I don't want it too green though. I just want to put in something along here. That's going to represent my sky. And after looking at that, putting it down, I think I'm going to make it a little yellower. Yes, like that. And my sky is going to go off into the distance. And I don't care about these hillsides yet, but I think I'm going to use the, start off with my ultramarine. My light is coming from here. And what I want to do to remind myself is I'm going to draw a little sunshine or a light bulb or whatever. And so my light's coming from here. That gives me those long shadows going across. So I'm going to take my ultramarine, which is right now too blue, but that's okay. And I'm going to mix a little Gamboge with it. These are my 2 colors. That's a little better. And I'm going to use I'm going to leave a little white some places, and I'm just going to make this go all the way over, just like when I did my value study before. Oh, that's kind of interesting color. I think I'll add a little more blue over here, just to for fun. So that's going to be my background. And this, I didn't wait for this to dry. I can go back and change that edge later. So it's a soft edge, so it's going to go in the distance. And I'm going to put some tone. I'm going to put some tone behind here, and that's going to represent a mid-tone of that light coming through. Again, I'm following this guy, and I want to lift, I want to just kill this guy a little bit along here and maybe along there, because I want it to go from light to darker. And I might even go back into that a little bit later on for my dark. So I want to take my pure Gamboge, and that's going to be, that's going to kind of be my meadow. And I don't care about any of this stuff down here. So that's my bright color. And then I'm going to mix the 2 together. The ultramarine is pretty bright by itself. So I'm going to try to mix that Gamboge with it and tone it down to make a neutral. In fact, I think I'll take advantage of this. So what's blue and green going to give you? It's going to, or blue and yellow, it's going to give you some kind of a green. So you can see how it's not the color, it's the value of the color that's holding up in in there. And I am just kind of tickling this edge, and I'm just playing with this, trying to see what that value might be. And I'm going to start introducing that darker tone. And again, this is just another little study, but I'm doing it in color this time. So I'm going to do my little dance, but I want those sky holes, that brighter color, to kind of show through in the background. This is actually just framing this edge over here. That's a nice feel actually when it gets down into that wet and wet. I'm going to darken that up a little bit, but still try to keep it on the neutral side. And just test that. See the depth that you get just by doing that. It's still pretty amazing. And I'm building to the foreground, and these little guys in the distance, way in the distance. And maybe I can take and put that in my sketch here. I'm putting that in. That's actually this guy. And I think I have to let that dry because I don't want a soft edge. I want to start making some hard edges. And so I'm going to let this kind of dry together. But I think before I do that, I'm going to take that neutral tone that I had, and I'm just going to do that because I want that to be a little harder edge up there for that those mountains behind that. And maybe just put a few little more of those guys. And do I see the light coming in? I think I see the light. I'm going to put one more little swipe, and then I'm going to let it dry. And then we'll finish it off with darks, because right now I'm just painting, I'm really just painting my basic midtones. So I'm going to do that. And that's enough.